So good evening, ladies and gents, or good morning. Welcome to the Gigs Higgs podcast. I'm Gigs. Last name's Higgs. You can call me Ross. Whatever you want to call me. Call me over for dinner sometime if you want to. I'm up for that too. So we're going to talk Notre Dame football. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Big game coming up on Saturday. Primetime game, 7:30 p.m. ESPN's doing College Game Day there. Back to where it all started. I'm going to be really disappointed if I see Lee Corso put that nut on his head. But it is what it is, right? So hope he puts on the leprechaun hat. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be a fun game regardless. Notre Dame, I think, has been well-rounded all season, with the exception of this last game that they played. And we had two key players out. DJ Brown was out. JD Bertrand was out. Not having those players on the field really impacted our ability to stop the run. Our coverage was still pretty good. And when I say pretty good, I mean good enough that I don't think a team like Ohio State would have run all over them. It would have been a close game in the first half if we'd have played them last weekend, and I think the run would have been impactful and a lot more hard to stop. So, what do the Fighting Irish need to do to be able to win a game this weekend against Ohio State? So, let me take this from a slightly different perspective, right? And I want to look at what Ohio State has done well so far and what they haven't done well so far, and how Notre Dame can use those things to their advantage. So we'll start with Ohio State's defense. Ohio State's defense has been solid. However, their pass rush has not. Their pass rushers, even against these teams that would typically be considered weaker teams, they've not gotten to the quarterback. And that is something that you might find surprising. Now, I will say they're doing a lot. They're not blitzing a lot, right? They're rushing 4, or they're maybe rushing 5. But in the cases where they have blitzed, they're still not getting home against some of these teams like IU, Western Kentucky, right? The 3 teams that they've played, and Youngstown State. So if those are the teams that you're playing, and then you're going up against Notre Dame's front 5, how are you possibly going to get in there and pressure the quarterback? I can imagine that Sam Hartman's going to have some time standing back there in the backfield, looking through his progressions, maybe more than once. And we all know that Sam Hartman's a very mobile quarterback. He can get it done on the ground if he has to, and he can scramble and go get 3 or 4 yards. And that's all you really need to do in order to in order to keep the rhythm, in order to keep on time, right? Like they say in football, you keep on time. You want to. It's 3, 3, and 4. That's 10 yards. That's a first down. That's all you've got to do. So stay on schedule, and we can stay on schedule just by staying out of sack situations. So that's gonna be really helpful for our offense. I expect Hartman. He's gonna have a good game. He's done a great job of reading his progressions, going through his progressions well, not seeing that as being a big issue. Are we going to have some of those bigger plays, bigger gouges like we've had? Actually, possibly. We might. The cornerbacks for Ohio State have shown that they have had some weaknesses in some of these previous games, especially in the game against Youngstown State. So unless they've really addressed that in the past 2 weeks, and we didn't learn anything by them playing Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers got crushed. So do we have a chance for some of those big plays, some of those really short time drives because we have a long play? Yes, absolutely, I think we do. And Audric Estime, he's going to have a day 2, right? He'll have another 100 yards rushing day. We'll find a way to make that work for him because our front 5 is going to get it done. That's how we're going to end up winning on the offensive side of this game. Now, how do we win on the defensive side? And that's really the big question, because Ohio State's offense has been incredibly effective. and they have a very talented wide receiving core. So what do? Well, there's a few things we do. One, we have to pressure the quarterback, right? Our pass rush, and I think this is the reason that we saw a lot of blitz packages this past weekend against Central Michigan, and why we were trying to get home on their quarterback, because we want to put Ohio State in a position where they're scrambling, where they're going through their scramble drill, right? And getting those wide receivers, in a position to not be running the route anymore that they're supposed to be running. We want to put them in a situation where they have to freelance, because that's where they'll start making mistakes. And we've discussed every week before this, our cornerbacks locate the ball better than probably most secondaries. Our cornerbacks and our safeties. Our secondary locates the ball in the air better than most teams I've seen out there, in not just in the NCAA, but in the NFL, right? They are elite at that aspect, and that is how we create turnovers. And Ohio State has not done a great job of protecting the ball through the air. They've not done, against the teams that they've played, right? Turnovers through the air are going to kill you. And if we can win a few turnovers through the air, get the ball back early, get those big momentum shifts to happen, start getting in their quarterback's head, that's where we win this football game. Vegas odds has us at +3.5 right now, which is basically home field advantage plus half a point. So nobody's giving us a big... Nobody's saying that we're going to blow this team out. Can we? Yes. I think we can. Should we? No, we really shouldn't. And I think our defense has kind of shown that, yes, they're good, right? But they're going to allow points to be put on the board. We've seen that over and over again in the past 4 weeks where, there were some situations where points went on the board. Penalties are going to kill us. We cannot do that. We cannot be penalized the way that we've been penalized the past few weeks. We can't have the silly holding calls. We can't have the silly pass interference calls. We got to play aggressive, but we've got to play smart. I think our boys can do that. I really do. I know the coaching staff's been working on it. It's that fundamental thing that we need to do to win this game is not make mistakes that move the chains for free, because our defense can get it done on their own, but they cannot get it done if they're giving away 15 yards and automatic first downs or 10 yards and automatic first downs over and over again. It's just not going to work. Final score prediction. Tell you what, I've been tossing this around in my head for a couple of days now, just trying to figure out, I feel like I've had the offense figured out. I've had the Notre Dame offense figured out. What I haven't had figured out is the Notre Dame defense, and it's been because of these penalties. These penalties have just been brutal, and they've killed our ability to hold other teams to the point totals that they should have held them to. So I'm saying 35-28. Maybe 35-31. It's going to be close, and 35-31 would be right there at that 3.5, 4 point mark that Vegas is predicting. So I'm gonna trust the defense. I'm gonna say the defense can get it done. I'm saying 35-28, Fighting Irish. We can do it. Go get them, boys. All right. That's it for the podcast for today. We'll see you later this week. God bless. I love you all. Keep looking up. We'll see you soon. All right, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the podcast. I'm going to stop the stream briefly. That way, I'm basically going to cut film, and then I'm going to switch over so that everybody knows that I'm streaming Baldur's Gate, and start it right back up. I'll be back in like 3 minutes.